Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. I am Jim Hacking, and I am an immigration lawyer. Today is the 200th episode of the Immigration Answer Show. I am coming to you live. Thank you, Franklin, for clapping. I am coming to you live from Holland, Michigan, Macatawa. I am on Lake Michigan at my sister's house. I will be here all week. I will be doing the show live all week. I hope you all are doing well. I'm really excited to be here with all of you. I'm really excited about the fact that we have done 200 episodes of this show. I think we've really started to hit our stride. I feel like we've been able to get a lot of people a lot of good immigration advice. We've helped some people avoid major problems with their cases. We've helped some people fire their lawyers and figure out that their lawyers had screwed up their cases. We've helped some people sue USCIS and sue the State Department and really make sure that the government is held accountable for these crazy delays that they have. If you haven't already, I've seen we got a lot of great comments, and I really appreciate that. I'm glad that so many of you have decided to join us. Please consider coming in the waiting room. You can say whatever you want. Today, we're not going to do questions. We might do light questions, but we're just going to try to keep it pretty light, and we're just going to try to keep it at a high level. What I was hoping and what I've asked for people to do is to join us in the waiting room and to be ready to give us some advice for anyone moving to the United States. We wanted to sort of share more value, to celebrate with all of us the milestone of 200 episodes. Romel and Huli just dropped a comment in the chat, and we like that. I'm going to go ahead and bring up Huli because she's been such a great member of the community. Julia, there she is. No? Oh, she's on a call. Julia can't be talking to me. Julia's on the call. She's working. We've got some hardworking people here at Old Hacking Immigration Law. But if you're in the waiting room and you have a piece of advice for immigrants, which is what we're talking about today, give me a thumbs up and I'll know to pull you up. If you're just here to get questions answered, we'll get to that maybe later. But today is sort of a celebration, a sort of acknowledgement of our 200th episode of the Immigration Answer Show. You know, I started the show because I was frustrated with the immigration service, and I was wanting to share my thoughts on how the federal government treats immigrants, treats U.S. citizens who are in love with immigrants and who are going through the immigration process. I think it's a crappy process. I think it could really be improved. I don't know if you guys saw my email on Sunday, and if you're not on our email list and want to get our emails, we send out emails 4 times a week, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you want to get on our email list, just shoot us an email, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. I don't know if you saw in yesterday's email, I wrote about a presentation that I heard on Thursday by a sports psychologist named Jason Selk. And he talked about how so often we get focused on our problems and not on solutions. And I've even been accused here of complaining too much about the way that USCIS handles things. And I do admit that I sort of call them out for what they do and don't do. But Dr. Selk talked about how we need to be relentlessly focused on a solution. So relentless solution focus. So relentless, for those of you who don't know English or know a lot of English, relentless means never giving up. So relentless, and then solution means how do we solve our problems? And instead of having a mindset where we're thinking about all of our problems, that we're focused on solutions. And the question that Dr. Selk asks us to ask ourselves is, what's one thing, no matter how small, that I can do to make this better, even if it's just a little bit better. And so I think that's pretty powerful stuff. It helps clear away the drama and it helps get clarity. You know, one of the things that I always say, thanks, Ricardo. One of the things that I always say or ask myself is, what is the next best thing that I can do? What's one small step that I can do? And I think that if USCIS would take this kind of an approach, I know that fixing USCIS is probably a pretty intimidating proposition, that the people who are in charge of USCIS, who look at how dysfunctional that agency is, probably get sad or disheartened thinking about all the problems that are there. And so a lot of times when you're focused on all the problems, it can keep you from taking any action at all. And that's backwards thinking, and it's completely counterproductive. So we, as always, I heard a little audio sound. We, as always, are going to try to focus on solutions. We're going to celebrate the wins. We're really happy with all the comments that we're getting. It's fun to see everybody here. Now, if you're in the waiting room, oh, look who's here. Now I have to, I can't wait any longer. I have to call up Rocio. Hi, Rocio. How are you
Hello,
doing?
how are you? Can you hear
I'm
me?
great. I got you. How are you?
I'm I'm not driving. Good. How are you? Congratulations on the 200th episode. I couldn't miss being here. And I have, if you allow me, I have three pieces of advice. One, okay, so the first one, I came here 6 years ago as an F1 student, and I came here first. The first time I came here was in 2009 with a J1 visa, but as an F1 student, my advice is try and seize the opportunities that your university gives you in terms of socializing and meeting people. There's usually, I came to WVU, West Virginia University, and the first few months, I'm not gonna lie, they were rough. I was missing home, I was homesick. And so I reached out to the international office and say, hey, what's going on? Do you have an international club? Do international students get together? And so, yes, I found out that they got together every Friday and they cook like an international meal. Like you would have your opportunity, and then to host a dinner for new people. Be also open to. In Argentina, at least, we have this prejudice against American people that they're cold, that they're selfish, that they're all about personal space. And I'm going to tell you something. The nicest people I've met here are Americans. So, and I even had like a complete unknown American family. They just reached out to the university, figuring out that there were international students for Thanksgiving Day that did not have anyone to spend the day with. So they hosted a dinner without knowing us for all the international students. So if you're coming here, just be open, be nice with people. If they invite you to do something, even if you don't want to, push yourself, go out and do it. And then that's eventually how I met my husband, like by pushing out, but just being there. And then my other two pieces of advice are kind of more boring, but are related to immigration. No matter if you hire even like Jim Hacking, who's a very, very competent attorney, you have to know your stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you have to, I can, well, even before I met you, and then I've read the USCIS policy manual many times. It's out there, it's in the public. So know your rights as an immigrant. And get into, because sometimes, and you see them here, sometimes attorneys make horrible mistakes. They can be very costly in terms of, so you just have to know it. And then another one, read reviews about attorneys. When you're thinking about hiring an attorney, I like the feature that Google has that you can read reviews. So go ahead and take your time and read them all. I'm pretty sure my husband has had to hire attorneys for other things, but that's the one thing that I learned. People here they do take the time to write reviews. So most likely, if it's a fishy immigration attorney, you can save yourself from a heartache or a headache by reading the reviews that they have. Yeah. So that's just.
These are all great tips. The first one about encouraging people who come to sort of take advantage of opportunities to meet other people. You know, I know this will sound funny, but I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I went to St. Louis University, so I
Mhm.
literally and I lived on campus. So I actually moved 12 miles from where I was born. And on the first night there, I was sad, right? And I only moved 12 miles, right?
Yeah.
And I was feeling sorry for myself, and then one of the guys on the floor said, "Hey, let's go down." They were having I think they were
Yep.
teaching square dancing or something out in the quad, and I went, and I just felt a lot better. So that was great advice. Rocio, nobody knows their own case better than you. You're always on top
Yep.
of your own case. I remember when you were waiting for the receipt notice for your 751 and everything. So I even have a video about this, how, yeah, you hire a lawyer and yeah, they're supposed to know your case, but no one no one knows your case, should know your case as well as you do. And, even if you have a lawyer, it's your responsibility and you're the only one who's going to be impacted if things go wrong. And then the last one, check the reviews. That's always a good piece of advice. And it's funny, a couple of our Google reviews just disappeared. So we dropped back under 500. I'm not sure why, but yeah, I think all those were great pieces of advice. Thank you so much. And thanks for all your support for the
Thank
show.
Thank you. And I'll watch the rest. I have to go to my gym class now, which I finally I'm starting, but I watched the rest of the recording. But I just wanted to step by and say how much I appreciate you. And then, yep, I'll watch
Thanks.
the rest of the recording.
Thanks so much.
Adios.
Adios. Oh, wow, she's so great. A great member of the community. We love having her. All right, is anyone else in the waiting room wanting to give some advice like Rocio just did? If so, give me a thumbs up. And that goes for you too, Huli or Ramel. If you guys want to come on, just give me a thumbs up if you have a piece of advice for all of our immigrant friends. Yeah, it was Ramel. That was fun seeing Rocio. She's been such a great supporter of the show. She watches every day and she always has good comments, and I know I believe her when she says that she's read the USCIS policy manual, which if you guys haven't done that, it's super boring, but there are some things in there that you can get information wise that might help put you over the top. So two, 200 episodes. I'm really excited about it. I was surprised when Justin from our video team, um, when Justin counted up the episodes and he told us we were headed towards 200. I was really really surprised. So we're glad about that. And on that note, we do have an announcement that we have a winner of the half hour talking with me on our Instagram account. So we'll announce that winner, I think, today or tomorrow. Um, when I was a kid, I really liked radio. I listened to the radio a lot. I listened to baseball games on the radio. I listened to um, call-in shows like this one. And my favorite show was an older guy named Jim White, and he was really crabby. Like if old people would call up his show, and that's who's up late at night, they would call and they'd want to talk about all their health ailments, and he would get mad and kick them off the show, telling people that nobody wanted to hear about health ailments, about what they were sick with. I think that this show though sort of fills the same role, that I think people like to be able to talk about their problems. And I think people, I mean, if I had to guess why people watch the show, I think it's because they want to feel a sense of community. They want to know that they're on the right track. I think some people like to see it when I get mad and yell and tell people how stupid they are. So I think there's lots of aspects to it. But I think the biggest one is just that sense of community. I mean, we have tons of friends in the comments who I actually do feel like they're my friends, right? Like I've known them for a long time. I've heard from them for a long time. Look at all these great congratulations that we got from Julie and Maria and Sinu and Sheldon. Our friend Sheldon's always on the call. The unstoppable Cindy B. Yep, yep. It's so great seeing everybody. Um, Abby's here on our team. She's on the show often, and we have a new person on the communications team. Her name is Emma. She left us a comment, and of course, Romel and Julia are here as well. So, anybody have any more advice for immigrants? If not, I'm going to go ahead and probably start taking some questions. Let me go ahead. Oh, wait, hold on. Peddler's here. Hi, Peddler.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How you doing?
Good. What can I help you with?
Yeah, you remember I called you last one that I was scheduled for interview my N400 while my 751 is still pending.
Yeah.
And I went there because they didn't tell me to come with my spouse, and they say I didn't call my spouse. Now they reschedule me again. I just want to know what should be the next step to take. Well, the 751 is still showing pending. Why they still call me for the interview for the N400? What do I
So,
do next? Yeah.
again, they've scheduled it. Have they rescheduled it?
Yeah, they'll reschedule it here in the next
When is
few
it?
in the next few weeks.
So you need to bring a lawyer with you. You need to bring your spouse with you, and you need to bring a bunch of new evidence with you. And
Okay.
you have to assume that both are going to get decided.
All right. How do I get a lawyer? And that's why I say I need to call because I don't want to miss the opportunity again.
Where's the interview?
Is in Tacoma, Seattle.
Okay, yeah. If you email us, I can tell you an attorney up there in Seattle. Her name's Lisa. Um, Lisa. I can't think of it right now, but I'll get it for you if you email us.
All right. I'll send your lady an email. She sent me the link so that
Yeah.
she can reach out to me for that. I appreciate that.
Okay. Thanks, Peddler. Good luck,
Thank,
buddy.
thank you,
Keep
sir.
us posted. Yep. All right. All right. Um, yeah. So we appreciate all the 200th episode love. We think that we've got a lot of more interesting things we want to do with the show. We're going to start having some segments, I think, where the lawyers from the office come in and sort of answer questions. Um, yeah. So, any other suggestions you have on how we can make the show better? We'd love to hear it. Julie's okay. Cool. Julie's passing me a message. I can't see what the message is, Julie. I'm gonna have to pull you up. You're muted.
I have to use my new banner. I hope you
Okay.
like it. Check it out.
Oh, nice. That was funny. That was funny. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I saw on the private chat that Ricardo has some advice.
Oh, great. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Julie. I'll
You're
pull him
welcome.
up. Yep, I'll pull him up. Hi,
And
Ricardo.
Hey,
congratulations, by the
hi.
way, the 200.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, Ricardo. Thanks for coming on with some advice. What advice do you have?
So, hey, thanks. First of all, congratulations for 200 shows.
Thanks.
Speaking from Cleveland, Ohio. Okay, I talked to you a few weeks ago. So, I immigrated to US as L1B as in Bravo. Okay, and after 2 years, my company started my green card process. So, L1B specialized knowledge did require labor certification and then adjustment of status. Well, I work for a large multinational company, 20,000 employees, and the law firm they use, it's 5,000 employees. So my big advice when they started the green card process, keep an eye on that, okay? Be on top of that because people who have this process before me, it's very easy when you have such large companies that things get lost in the middle of the way and you are losing precious time. For example, they send an email to my manager requesting some information about me, and my manager didn't read that email for 3 weeks. So we
Mm.
just lost 3 weeks of time. And then I talked to the attorney, say, hey, how's the process doing? He said, oh, we are waiting on your manager. Really? Then I went, hey, Dale, can you respond this email for me? Oh, sorry for that. Just missed that. So my advice is that for those who are on the company sponsor green card, keep an eye on that. Don't let like 3 months go by and talking to nobody because maybe the process is stopped. So that's my 2 cents here.
I think I think it's great advice, Ricardo. A couple of things. One is I once interviewed a lawyer who worked at one of those big at the biggest immigration business immigration law firm in the country, and they spent all their time working like on one company's employees, which like was boggling my mind. So it is easy to get sort of caught up in the machine and that people miss out on stuff. So I think sometimes it's weird. Sometimes some employers don't want the lawyers to share any information with the employee. Some employers are sort of more open to that. And if it were me, I would want, like, for me, if I were your employer and I was asking your manager, and the lawyer was asking the manager for a piece of information, I would definitely want to include you on that email so that I know you're going to bug your boss more than the lawyer will have to. So I just don't understand that mindset. So I'm sorry that happened, but I think that's really good advice. I mean, I've even had times where people have asked us, they know that the employer is paying for the immigration lawyer themselves, but to have us sort of watch and pay attention and give advice, because sometimes the employee and the employer's interests aren't always the same. So I think you gave good advice. So thank you for that.
Yeah, appreciate that, and yeah, hope that helps. And
Have a
again,
great day, Ricardo.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, bye. All right, that was Ricardo. Let's say hi to Okay.
Hi, yeah, my name is Joshua, and
Hi,
happy
Joshua. How you doing?
200. I'm doing good.
Thanks.
Yes. So I have an advice and a question, but let me just say the advice first. So I came into the country when I was 17 in 2018, and that's the first time I came into the country. Came with my parents, but while I was here for about a month, I ended up getting an admission into a college here, and I went back for the F1 visa. I had to go back home to apply for that, but I got denied at the consulate. So I came back here for Christmas, and when I go back here, like a friend of the family advised me and was like, "Oh, you could do a change of status and stuff like that." So I talked to my parents because I came here along with an auntie of mine. So I talked to my parents who were still in Nigeria, and they said if I still want to pursue my education, I can try apply. So I applied for the change of status, and it got denied. And the reason why USCIS denied it was they said that they believe I lied at the point of entry for my true intentions of coming to the States.
On the
That
second
I'm
on the second entry.
second entry, yeah. They say they believe I'm
Yeah.
misrepresented. So
Yeah.
and now I'm facing deportation proceedings. I should have a court date for 2024. Although the reason for the deportation proceedings is just being out of status. But my advice is don't just do what people say you can do. Like if you're in my situation, you're young, you don't really know anything about immigration, I would have loved, if I knew this would have happened, I would have talked to an attorney first of all, or did a lot of research first before I actually started any change of status case. So yeah, that's my advice. Just research on your case. Don't believe in what anybody just tells you, and make sure you talk to an attorney before you do anything. That way, you just kind of avoid things like this. And the question I have is, I'm presently dating someone right now, and I have a fiance. Although we haven't married, I just wanted to see and get an advice for like anything that has to do with the relief for my court proceedings or anything like that. If you have anything to say, just say.
So let's assume that instead of you saying you were dating, let's say that you'd gotten married yesterday and now we were having our conversation. Okay. So
Okay.
here's how my thought process would go. And first of all, thanks for the advice. I at first I thought you were going to tell people that your advice was to if you don't get the visa at the embassy, to come back to the United States on your B1 and then apply for change of status. But I'm glad that wasn't your advice, because that would have been bad advice, because that wasn't ever going to work. So whoever told you that, you're right, that was bad advice, and they shouldn't just listen to what people say can work. And the thing is, just because something's worked once in one person's case doesn't mean that's the rule, right? So sometimes people get lucky. Sometimes USCIS makes a mistake. And Joshua, I tell people all the time that people call me up and they say, "Hey, I know this guy who lives down the street from my second cousin in Modesto, California, and he knows this guy at the restaurant he works at who told him that if you do this, you can get a green card, right? Most people have no clue what they're talking about. So your advice, your tip was good. So as far as your situation, if you got married today and you filed for an I-130, that would most likely get approved. So, you get married, if you are in removal proceedings and you apply for an I-130, which is the petition for the alien relative, the petition that your U.S. citizen spouse would file for you, you have to show by a higher standard of proof that the marriage is real. In other words, they assume that the marriage is fake, and you've got to prove more than a regular case, right? So that's one thing to remember. But you should be able to get that I-130 approved. We've never had an I-130 for someone who is in removal denied because of that higher standard. So you should be able to get that approved. But then the question is, well, once that's approved, then you go back to the immigration court and you say, hey, Joshua has this U.S. citizen spouse. He has an approved I-130. USCIS agrees that the marriage is legitimate. And then you would ask the immigration court to terminate the deportation proceedings to let you go back to USCIS and get your green card. So that would be stage 2. I think the immigration judge and the government attorney, at least if we do it while Biden is in office, that part should go through as well. The problem, I think, is going to be on the last piece, which is whether or not you need a waiver. Because if they've concluded or think you made a misrepresentation, then you might need a waiver. So that's going to
the stuff that said they made the decision without prejudice. That's what it said on the statement there. So I don't know if it's good.
Yeah. So maybe they'll revisit it, but that's going to be the big shooting match. I think, Joshua, here's what I would say. I think if you got married to a U.S. citizen, there's a path for you to stay. It's just going to be a lot of work. I told you about the first 2, and then we got to do the waiver. So those 3 things together, that's just a lot of work.
Thank you very much.
All right, my friend. Good luck, and thanks for coming on.
No problem.
All right. That was Joshua. That was nice to hear from him. It's hard to believe that we're at 200 people or 200 shows. I can't imagine how many people we've been able to help, given the fact that we've been doing this show for so long now. Let's see who's next. Steve says he has a reminder and a question. Steve, are you with us?
Yes, I am. It's actually something I heard from you, like in just from one of the episodes recently, and you were talking about how. So I am an F1 student. I've been here since 2018, and so I just I still need one class to graduate. So I will graduate in July 5 next month. But since I got here, I've never gone back home. Mostly because of the situations back home, and my country is also under TPS now.
Okay.
So in a situation like, because I've been here 4 years, and I came to a pretty remote place. So like they weren't there, like at least when I first got here, like 2 or 3, the first 2 years or so, like there weren't any international students, so like not many of us. So I had to get myself adjusted to the culture, and so basically, because I've been here 4 years, I've started to think like an American in a way, or act like an American.
Right.
And on top of that, I've applied for asylum because of the changes back in my country. So every now and then, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm more like an American now. But then I was watching your show like maybe a week or so ago, and you were saying how people start to like act like they're American, or like act like they belong to this country, although like immigration wise they still don't. So that was something that hit me that day.
I think that's definitely something that happens. People start to, I mean, when you're here on a non-immigrant visa, you're physically inside the United States, but when it comes to the law, you're barely here. Like it's almost like you knocked on the door, you got in through the door, but you could get sent right back out the door pretty quickly. So that's the part
Yeah.
that I think people forget about.
And my question is because I was supposed to graduate like normal, and so my visa had been like only until like May 31st, which expired about a week ago. But my school, because I have to finish one more class, my school extended my student status, F1 status, until July 5. And so, but also I also have TPS, and my license, driver's license, expired. I wanted to extend that. So I was wondering if I go to like I live in Virginia, so if I go to like to the DMV, that's what we call it here.
Yeah.
If I go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, so if I go to DMV, would they extend my license based on my F1 status or my TPS? And if it's TPS, I don't want to use my TPS status because like I'm going to graduate school, so I just want to like continue my F1 status. I'm going to graduate school in fall in Massachusetts. So I was just wondering if I extend my license right now. Do you think that they're gonna use my F1 status and just give me like 1 month extension, or are they gonna use my TPS? And if they use my TPS, would that affect my F1 status?
You should use your TPS because it's going to give you a longer driver's license. That won't have any negative impact on your F1. I think if you go based on that extension of your I-20, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to have much of an updated driver's license. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need to worry about TPS when it comes to your driver's license.
Okay. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you so much, and
Good luck,
congratulations
Steve, and
on
thanks.
your 200th episode.
Thanks. Appreciate you. All right, so that was Steve. Steve was going to get his driver's license. I tried to move where I was sitting because the sun was backlighting my face and I couldn't see all of you. Looks like AR has a question about his old lawyer. What do you say, AR?
Hi Jim, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Actually, I filed for N400 based on marriage to a US citizen, and
Oh, wait. Hold on, AR. Before your question, you got to give a piece of advice for
yeah,
immigrants in the United
that's what.
States. What's your
So
advice?
I chose an attorney to file for N400 for myself. So he basically told me that he took my green card and asked me my travel information and everything, and he told me to sign on the on the form where it tells to sign, but it was not filled. So I gave it to him and he said that I'll file your form and you are all set, good to go. I didn't really see the physical form on what was filled. But when I filed FOIA, I see that he made a bunch of mistakes in that. So that's what my piece of advice is, whoever attorney you are working with, first check the reviews of the law firm and the attorney itself. And after checking the mistakes, I went online and checked how the attorney is, and there are a bunch of people who complain about him, but I didn't knew it before. So
Mm,
and then whatever forms they are filling, if you know English, or if you don't know English, take someone who knows English, and then
mm.
check the forms by yourself that all the information has been inputted is correct, or else after waiting for so many months, it will be backfiring at you, saying that hey, these were the mistakes. I didn't really went back to him, showing him his mistakes. I don't know what would be the result of that. So that's my piece of advice, that always check the forms. Don't really rely on an attorney saying that he's gonna take care of everything.
I think this is excellent advice, and I would even take your advice one step further, AR, and that is that no immigrant should ever sign USCIS forms that aren't completed, right?
Yeah,
You never want to just give them your signature to let them fill it out later because that's like the worst of both worlds. You're going to get blamed for anything that's contained in there, and you didn't even have the chance to review it,
exactly.
right? So here's the thing. My wife and I are very different when it comes to like paperwork or Like if we go to the kid's doctor, she keeps every scrap of paper, and I just show up there and I just sign everything, right? Immigration shouldn't be like the doctor's office. You should be more like my wife and more like AR wishes he had been, and that is you go over every single thing. There's a form, AR, I don't know if you remember this, but there's a form when you have a lawyer representing you in immigration, it's called a G28. I once had someone reviewing my G28 for 10 minutes. I knew I was in trouble, but that's how some people are. So you probably don't need to be that crazy, but you
Sure.
definitely don't want to sign anything that you haven't seen. Now, all that being said, you said that there were all kinds of mistakes with the dates. Like, do they at least have the countries right and they're just off a little bit, or is there just like plain old stuff that's missing?
So basically, what happened is I filed, and then I filed for FOIA for my N400 file. And then when it came, I made two trips outside the United States when I got my green card. So the total number of days are 267. He listed the trip days correctly, that I went in January and then came back in March and stuff like that. But he listed the total number of days as 247 instead of 67. So that's one mistake. And the other mistake is my wife came on a family sponsorship green card in 1998, and then my father-in-law became a citizen in 2008. So she 18 years old,
Sh-
but the attorney listed in the form that she is a born US citizen. And the third mistake is my wife's name starts with an N as a Nancy, but he listed it with an M instead of N. So my thing was like, are these mistakes can be, like taken care of during my interview, or do I have to
Yeah,
go?
no, you'll be fine. Those are, I mean, one of the reasons you have the interview is to go back and correct the mistakes that were made on the form. So that none of those will kill your case. You should be fine.
And then another thing you said is, Jim, that I signed the paperwork. So the officer will tell me that, hey, while signing the paperwork, didn't you read that these mistakes are there? Why did you do it and stuff like that?
I've never had that happen, and I've been to hundreds of interviews. You don't have to worry about that. And in fact, AR, I mean, hopefully you'll bring a lawyer with you to your interview, but if I were there and they were asking my clients about the process of how we reviewed and signed forms, I would refuse to let them answer that because that going back and forth with your lawyer is confidential and they can't make you tell them about that. So I think your lawyer could shut that off.
Okay. All right.
But even that being said, I've never, I mean, maybe once or twice ever they've asked like, well, didn't you review this before you filed it? But usually when I see that, it's when I go to cover an interview on a case that I didn't file, where they filed on their own.
Okay. So, like, my piece of advice is still intact, as you said, that always check the forms. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jim. Thanks
Thanks,
for.
AR. Good luck, buddy. Keep us posted, okay?
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
All right, that was AR. That was AR. Let's Franklin. What's up, Franklin?
Hey Jim,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. First of all, thank you very much for doing this. I've been watching your show for I think about 4 years. I
Awesome.
came in 4 years ago, and I've been learning quite a lot just by watching your show. And I must say that some many times I've asked myself, why is it doing this? Why is it giving so much free information online for people? I'm tend not to hire him because he's already giving me the information I will
Yeah,
not be paid to get. So yeah, thank you very much for doing that.
you're welcome.
I have a set of questions. So I came in April 2018 as an F1 student, and I came in April 2018 as an F1 student. I went to school. I was in an English school. I learned English, and when there's some a few things happened back in my country, and I had to apply for asylum, and I did, and I stayed in school up until I think a few weeks before I got my EAD, and I was just wondering, like. Um, Is that going to have an impact on my upcoming I-130?
Well, you skipped the I-130 part. So then you married a U.S. citizen.
Oh no, not yet. We are in the process of getting married right now. And before I get to that question, I had a first question, the first step. So I am going to pay. I am from Africa,
Mhm.
and I need to be granted the right to marry my fiance by her parents, and I we usually pay a dowry. Um, should I include that information in my I-130 after we get married? That hey, I paid the dowry.
Um, you could. I don't see how it really helps you though. Why would you want to submit that evidence? I've had dowry evidence submitted before, often on overseas cases. I don't know. I think that's probably hard advice for me to give without seeing the rest of the details of the case, and I'd probably want to talk to your spouse. But just generally, I don't know how evidence related to a dowry really helps establish that the marriage is legitimate.
Okay. I mean, I was just wondering whether I should no 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 no, this is something you shouldn't do, or
I wouldn't say no, but I would lean towards not doing it.
okay. All right, got it.
Now,
Um
as far as so walk me, how long did you go to the English school?
um about a year, I think. Yeah.
And did you get any kind of a certificate?
Uh I did not ask for it, but if I ask for it, they will give it to me, the certificate of
Like
completion.
like you completed the program though?
Yes. Yes.
And did you apply for asylum within a year of arrival in the United States?
Yes.
And have you had your interview on your asylum case
Not
yet?
yet.
So are you in that like 2017, 2016 window where those people haven't had their interviews yet, or when did you apply for asylum?
I applied in 2018. I applied when the former president had just started making a whole bunch of people getting their interviews. I didn't get one, and I've just
Got
been.
it. Got it. Okay. And did you know your spouse before you came to the United States?
No, we've been together for a year now.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that sounds good. That sounds good. No, I don't think I think that'll be fine as long as you're honest and upfront about it. That all sounds fine.
Okay. So my next question is, so after my wife became a citizen, she became a citizen a few months ago. We did not apply for her passport because after our wedding, um, we want we want her to change her name, and we were wondering whether after the wedding we should first apply for a another certificate of citizenship with the new name on it, or we can just go ahead and apply for the I-130.
Yeah, no, you don't need to formally change your name at USCIS or get a new certificate. You'll just include all that evidence and attach it to the application. Like
Okay,
you'll have to just walk them through it.
okay. So not even we don't even need to apply for the passport, right? Because we didn't apply for the passport. We're like, if we apply for the passport when we change the name, we'll have to apply again, and that's extra money. So
Yeah, you can wait until after she changes her name.
okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that's all. I had a whole bunch. I
All right.
had a lot more questions, but I didn't. I wasn't expecting to get on the show on my
Oh,
first. So I
okay.
forgot
Well,
them.
you said you've been watching the show for 4 years. What piece of advice do you have for immigrants that are either
Yes,
coming or in the United States?
I actually posted it in the chat. So I will say that always information. First of all, information is free in the United States. Google is there. You can always go on websites and look up what are some rights, what are some benefits that your visa or your status grants you. What are some of the things that you can do and you should not do? Because I've seen F1 students thinking that since I go to school here, when I graduate, I will be able to work, and they just did not know at all that they that's not how it works. You have 60 days after your program is completed to go back to your country. And I've seen other people just looking for jobs when they should not, and others not even knowing that they can get on campus work permit. I mean, out of campus work permit to be able to work for a maximum of 20 hours. So look up what are some benefits that your status gives you, what things you can do, and what are some of the things that you should absolutely not do. So that would be my
Awesome.
advice.
Awesome, Franklin. Thanks so much. Keep us posted, okay?
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jim.
Bye, my friend. All right, that was Franklin. Franklin saying hello. Let's go ahead and see. Is Macy here? Macy?
Yes, this is Macy. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Macy. Good. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, because we've been married. My husband, he come here at asylum, and then now we married over 3 years, and we would like, because our process still pending though, and we had the first interview already, but they didn't do anything. They don't say that's what they just tell us to wait, and we call inquiry. We call them all the time, so they say they opening the case in April 22nd of this year, and they will set us our second interview.
Which field office is this, Macy?
In California, Santa Clara.
And tell me about what happened at the interview that you already went to.
Let me tell you.
Hello, sir. I am Macy's husband. Yeah, in the first interview, my lawyer did some mistakes. Something like my father, my mom died, so he put like in the application like they're alive, and my birthplace also he put something wrong. So when the examiner talked to me, I said like a couple of things wrong because the application a couple of mistakes were wrong. After that, he verified, and I got a probation certificate for when I'm working in the interstates, for the cigarettes selling to a minor, and that application also we did not submit in the beginning, and some of the mistakes happen like that. So,
when did you come to the United States?
Yeah, in 2001, in June.
So you've been in the United States for a really long time without permission, right?
Yeah, no. One more thing is I come here by the H-1B visa, and after 2.5 years, my visa was expired, and after that I stay here without having anything. And in 2016, I applied for the asylum visa, and it was granted. And from the time onwards, I'm paying the taxes. So since I come here in the beginning from 2001, I did not pay any taxes. I paying taxes from 2016 only to the government.
If you already got asylum, why didn't you apply for a green card based on asylum? Why did you do it based on marriage?
They don't do it.
Because I see the asylum cases they're pending like almost like 10 years, something like that, longer time. And I'm in love with the girl here.
He met me, and after that he decided to marry me.
Yeah,
and I won't marry him.
you know.
Yeah, but he was already on the path to a green card. I don't know why. Did they separate you? Did they separate you? You said you got asylum, right? Or did you not get asylum?
Yeah, I got asylum. Yeah.
But they don't approve yet.
But not approved it, no. But still the
so
case
you applied for asylum, but it hasn't been granted.
Yes. No. Yeah, I'm working. I got a work permit on the asylum.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you got asylum. That just means you got a work permit.
Yeah, only the work permit only. But the case is not completed yet.
Did you go to an asylum interview or just a marriage-based interview?
No. I did not go to any asylum interview. No, not yet.
And did they separate you and your wife at the green card interview?
No. The first interview we are together.
How long was it?
In the same room. Yeah, talking
it's
to
not
the
that long though. It's really quick though.
Wait. Yeah.
When did you file for the green card? When did you get married and when did you file?
We married in 2019, and we got the interview. We filed in 2019 June, and we got the interview in 2020. No, 2019 December 30th.
We married in January 1st, 2nd in 2019. And we get interviewed in December 31st, the same year, 19 too.
So it's been 2 years since your interview and you don't have your green card?
No.
Yeah, they said due to the pandemic, it was the case are pending. So that is the reason it was like, still in the process like that. They say like that. When we call the customer service for the USCIS, yeah.
Yeah, you need to sue them.
But when we sue them, you think they deport to him as asylum case or no?
No, it'll be on the green card. We'd sue on the green card.
So
what is your advice? We don't know.
What your advice? We don't know anything because our lawyer say just wait. He will grant it as green card later, but I don't know when. But they will set up the second interview, but we don't know when. And I just filed last week for the G639 for all the form that we submit. I did already request already, so I want to know what the lawyer wants to write down on his asylum and my case too.
That's good. Do you have our email address or our phone number?
I do. I did talk to Abigail, and she give me some something if I need to contact, and then so if we take an interview, should I hire you and my lawyer to come? Two lawyer come with us, or we just
Yeah. I'll check with Abby tonight, and I'll look up your notes and I'll email you guys. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then you think if we sue them, they will report to him because he married to me. Because when he married to me, my dad, all my kids write a letter to it, and they support us a lot, and we have a lot of evidence that our marriage is out.
Macy, were you born in the United States?
No, I didn't born in the States. I come at immigrations 1985, and I'm a U.S. citizen now.
Great. Okay, thanks, guys. I'll send you an email.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay,
thank you, sir.
Have a good night. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, that was Macy. I think we got time for one or two more. Let's say hi to IN. Hi, IN.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. So I had my interview last week, and the interview went on for let me say 10 minutes. She asked the basic questions: are you a terrorist? Are you a communist? And how long we've been married, and the day of the wedding. And then she told my husband to go outside and write down his past 5 addresses in the past 5 years. And then she said the interview was over and to turn in any of the documents we had. But then she was like, it's under review.
Are you the immigrant or are you the U.S. citizen?
I'm the immigrant.
Okay.
And then 5 minutes later, she came outside because I went to my spouse outside to help him out with the addresses. And she said to come back inside. And then she asked us, how did you guys meet? How did he propose? And then that was it.
Which field office was this?
Chicago.
How long was the whole interview?
10, 15 minutes tops.
Were you married when you got were you in status when you got married, or were you out of status when you got married?
Out of status. I've been here for 9 years, and I came here when I was 15, and I'm 25 now.
On a visit visa?
Yes.
And have either you or your spouse been married before?
No.
And do you have any kids?
No. Oh, and also, when I came in because my uncle filed for me, adopted me, and he was trying to file for me, but we canceled that case.
Okay. Did they ask about that old case at your interview?
She didn't mention it until the end, and all she said was they didn't have the case filed right now.
And how long ago did you file for the green card?
I got married in 2020. We filed April 2021, and then we had the interview last week.
Yeah, so I'd give them 3 or 4 months, and then let me know if it's still pending. If you don't have a decision, let me know.
Okay.
It sounds a little bit complicated. I mean, when you're out of status for 9 years, they look at your case a little bit more carefully. So.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ian. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, bye. All right. I think I got time for 1 or 2 more. Let's say hi to IN, or I'm sorry, that was IN, to Amin. Hi, Amin.
Hi, good afternoon, Jim. How are you?
Hi, good. Do you have any advice for all the other immigrants out there?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, the first, be honest. Honesty is a lot. Like if you had trouble, if you had a ticket with the police, been arrested, put the I mean, God forbid, nothing happened, but just honesty, and don't hide anything because they'll find. And consult best lawyers like Jim.
Awesome.
Yeah, two important points.
Yeah, that being honest one is really important because I remember when I was a new immigration lawyer, I went to a green card interview, and this guy who was trying to get his green card, he was working without permission at the mall,
Wow.
and he met his wife at the mall. And I remember the officer asking him, he was really trying to be careful to not talk about working. So she said, how did you and your wife meet?" And he said, at the mall. And she said, "How did you meet at the mall?" And he said, "Oh, she was there shopping." And she goes, "And what were you doing at the mall?" And you could tell he really didn't want to say that he was working. And she sort of leaned forward, right? She leaned forward and was like, "Is he going to lie? I hope he lies. Because if he lies, it can get denied." So you can get denied for lying about stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But he said, "I was working," and she pounded on the table. She goes, "That's right. You were working at the mall," and she approved the case. So I think being honest. I mean, I would say if there's stuff you're worried about being honest about, talk to a lawyer, because you don't. I mean, you always have to be honest, but sometimes you might want to withdraw the case instead of being honest. So I think that being honest goes right along with your second one, which is make sure you have a good lawyer and that you're honest with your lawyer. That'd be a good video. Here's why you have to be honest with your lawyer. That would be a good video.
Exactly. I give you an idea.
A good idea. Thanks, Amin.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I have a question. If you have okay. So
real quick.
So I'm we got married. We're my fiance came through visa. We have all the documents. So what I'm filling form I-485 and I-76-5 and submitting for 684 as well for financial support and everything. So when preparing this package, like my sister is preparing and interpreting, she's been like going through all instructions with my fiance and now my wife. And when you put cover letters, like who signs the cover letter? Hey, enclosed is my application. We prepare all the documents, and with no artifacts with translation, all of them are in English, but like the cover letter has to be signed, say is not required, but like it has to be signed. I'm confused as to who needs to sign the cover letter for the package.
It doesn't matter. I'd say both of you.
Okay, should I write it as say my wife as a first person, or like
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the second question I have is, when we went back home, to back home to like get engagement, all the like artifacts. So we just got married new. Like I added her to my insurance, to my dental health insurance, and we opened joint bank accounts, and I already deposited money to that account. Like we prepared a lot of artifacts, and like I'm also submitting this proof that we submitted to the K1, like tons of pictures, family photos.
Right. So what's the question? I got to wrap.
Yeah. So the question is, should we just submit the case, or like we should just wait to gather more evidence? We have till July 23rd. The I-94 expires.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's in your file. I don't know what you've gathered. I think that your second piece of advice was to get a good lawyer, and I don't think you should file for a green card on your own. So.
Okay. And if we continue, if we continue to hire you, could you like charge us for a review of our package?
We don't do that. No, because then I'm liable, and I'm not the one that put it together, and then that's not good.
Okay.
I got to go. I mean.
All right, I'll email you.
All right, thanks, bud. All right, everybody. Oh, look at Hoolie's got all the faux shizzle going for sure. How about that? She's got new announcements, new banners. Next show's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Time. We thank everyone who made it possible for us to get to 200 shows. The show wouldn't work if you guys didn't come on and ask questions. So thanks for that. We will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. It'll be a regular show, just me answering questions. I think Daniel will be with me. And one of these shows this week, I'll try to get Amani to come on with me. Hope you all are well. Thanks for celebrating with us. Thanks to Huli and to Romel for being here. Thanks to all of you. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.